Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I wanted to share with you some Star Wars BattleFront II gameplay and talk about my opinions on the game. I had a chance to sit down and play it for about 3 hours this weekend at EA Play, played both the droid side and the clone trooper side, talked to some developers, and have formulated some opinions. So do keep in mind, in this video we are going to be mixing fact and opinion about the game, so pay attention to which is which. And the short version is, I believe that this is a significant improvement over BattleFront 1 in almost every way, and that is like the 5th time I've said that line because I swear I keep wanting to call it Battlefield 1 because the initials are the same. BattleFront 1 was a beautiful game. It looked great on console, it looked great on PC. Still to this day, people are posting photorealistic screenshots on Reddit in 4K, what it looks like when you take the HUD off and pose just right, and it was very immersive too. It truly made me feel like I was in Star Wars. My inner 7-year-old could not be happier. I felt like I was playing these battles and really experiencing it. And the basic game mechanics were pretty good, but not the greatest. However, it really felt like a dumbed-down Battlefield 1 or a dumbed-down Battlefield 4. It felt kind of like I was playing baby's first Battlefield, so as beautiful as it looked, as authentic as it was, as nostalgic as it was, and even though it played pretty well, there wasn't a lot of meaningful progression, there wasn't a great deal of unlocks that I was interested in, and after I had played a couple of maps, to be honest with you, I got bored of it and stopped playing in about 2 or 3 weeks. You can see that on the channel. I posted gameplay of it for a while, and then I just kind of fettered out because I lost interest, and I think that BattleFront 2 is mostly going to fix that problem. Of note, there's no paid DLC this time around. EA is pushing their entirely different agenda of when you buy the game, you get all 4, 5, 6 DLC packages for free, so at the $60 price point, there won't be any additional DLC whatsoever, so you all get the maps that get to come, and we don't split up the player base. But let's talk about BattleFront 2 specifically. I played it on PC today, and the graphics are fantastic. Just as good as ever. BattleFront 1 always did have good graphics. It never looked bad, so this game looks just as good, if not slightly better. I don't think the graphical engine was the real focus of the development team, and it's kind of hard to improve over the original, to be honest. The big improvement, though, is the game's depth and skill requirements have been drastically increased. Of course, you can do both first and third person, though I find third person better for actual combat. First person's definitely better for immersion. In this game, you deploy in 4 classes. You have Assault, you have, I believe, what they called Heavy, which is an LMG guy. There's a Specialist, who is a sniper, and a Lieutenant, who is probably the most different of all of them. You probably have a good idea of how Assault, LMG guy, and Sniper play. Lieutenant uses pistols that are very low damage. However, he can inspire nearby allies and gives them additional health, faster healing. He can put down turrets, he can do disruptions. He's sort of your utility character, which is not something you see in a lot of shooters, especially not Battlefield or Call of Duty-like ones. And he has auras around him that function kind of like Dota or League of Legends. So if you want a little bit of utility in your squad, go with the Lieutenant. The other guys play a lot like you would expect. Each class, of course, has several different gun unlocks, and they have 3 different cards that you can activate. Think of them like 3 different abilities, and a lot of games are using this. You've got your 1 big ability and your 2 smaller abilities typically, but you can customize it to whatever you want. And each one of the cards you can level up a lot. So you have ones that are like passive, like faster health regen. The assault rifle guy will gain a quarter of his health back every time he gets a kill. The light machine gun guy can walk slower but shoot his weapon a lot faster, kind of like a Heavy in Team Fortress. There's personal shields. There's a lot of stuff going on. And what's interesting is you can mix and match these. You can add grenades to one class or add auras to another if you really want to. But each one of them can be ranked up and leveled up. For instance, the assault guy that has, I think it's called Replenish, when you kill somebody, you get a quarter of your health back. I think that's at level 3. At level 1, it's like 10%. And all the way up at level 10, it's like 50% of your health back on kill. And the same kind of thing, when you level up your grenade launcher, it starts off at 2 grenades and you can pick it up to more. When you level up your personal shield, it can get a little bit beefier. And I want to say that most of these abilities at the event I saw had at least 4 levels of progression, some of them maybe 8 or 9 or 10, depending on which particular card you are choosing for your character. And the game plays roughly like BattleFront 1 in that you progress through historical battles in Star Wars. In this one, it was the siege of the Naboo Palace, trying to take over Queen Amidala. and you pretty much play through that directly from the movie, and that's pretty fun. There's multiple different objectives along the way. It's not just capturing points or conquest style from, you know, regular Battlefield. It's a sort of different thing. You have to play through the battle. Now, I do know that it's not all historical battles from Star Wars. They're in Battlefront 2. I'm getting all my names mixed up. You can tell I'm frazzled from E3. They're going to be adding in some stories and some battles that kind of bridge the arc between Star Wars Episode 7 and Episode 8, so there's going to be some new fresh content in that. But of note, when you're playing the game, there are no vehicle pickups, there's no power-ups you interact with, and there's no random hero pickups. That was one of the big faults of Battlefront 1, is that to get a vehicle, you had to pick it up off the ground in a coin, and then you would kind of spawn in it. Or to get a hero, you would have to run to the butt end of the map and try and find the random hero spawn. It was very RNG and not very fun. Instead, as you play the game, you earn battle points, which can be spent on the respawn screen to get all of those same things. Battle points is score. You get it for completing objectives, you get it for killing people, you get it for injuring people, you get it for using your abilities properly, for healing teammates, for doing all sorts of things in the game. And as you collect battle points, when you die in the spawn, instead of respawning as a sniper or an LMG guy, you can choose to respawn in a vehicle or an aircraft or a tank on the ground, or you can spawn as a better type of ground trooper, the big robots or the stormtroopers that have jetpacks, or if you save up a ton of them, you can spawn as heroes, which are your Sith, your Jedi, your Han Solo, your Princess Leia, Boba Fett, that sort of thing. And this system is so much better than the old one. The old one was so annoying, so RNG centered, so frustrating for me that I truly didn't enjoy it. Honestly, that's one of the big frustrations with the game, is that after like a couple of days, everybody learned where Darth Vader would spawn, and we would run to the butt end of the map and fight over the random token and try and get lucky. In this system, you have to earn your vehicles, you have to earn your heroes, you have to earn all these things, and you can choose to spend them early and get, say, a better trooper, or you can save it up to go for the full-on Jedi. It offers you some degree of tacticality. Tacticality, is that a word? Being tactical, we'll say being tactical, and that you can choose when to deploy your Jedi, when to deploy your tank, when to use each one of these things, because each one is going to be more useful in different sections of the map. Like the rest of the progression, the game is very progression-based this time. Your vehicles, heroes, and tanks all need to upgrade too. Your heroes upgrade with their cards for the most part, and the vehicles have a lot more passive things going on with them, but they all do upgrade. The downside to this is that people play very hard to get the heroes as fast as possible, and they hoard them for as long as possible, because you can't deploy 2 Jedi or 2 heroes. There can only be 1 Han Solo, there can only be 1 Darth Maul, there can only be 1 Rey and 1 Boba Fett. So people will play super stupidly hard in the beginning of the game to rack up the points as fast as possible to try to get the hero and then hold on to it for as long as possible. Now, admittedly, I was playing on some interesting teams with YouTubers and streamers, and they play different than normal people. And the build that we were playing to, which I'll talk about later, had some sort of skews and biases and balance concerns in it because it was a demo for EA Play. So this made it very frustrating for me, but it did kind of irritate me to finally save up enough points to spawn as a Jedi and have somebody hog the Jedi for like 5 minutes straight and me not be able to do it. And then finally they die, and it's like, all right, I can go back in. Somebody else has another 5,000 points, and they hop into the Jedi. That is definitely annoying and frustrating, but it is much better than Battlefront 1's system. Nearing the end of the video, you may want to ask, does it have as much depth and skill as Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 4? And the answer is no. Star Wars Battlefront is a more casual game than Battlefield, and therefore Battlefront is going to be a simpler Battlefield game at its core. It may not feel as fun to hardcore gamers, and for those of you that want a really mechanically intensive game, this one probably isn't going to be it, but it is significantly improved over Battlefront 1. We have a lot more going on with it, we have a lot more abilities, we have a lot more upgrades, we have a lot more balance and things going on, instead of just kind of grind through the map and headshot everybody with your blaster until you become Darth Vader. I think that the game is going to be great for casuals. I think the casual gamers are going to stick around longer. I think that average gamers are going to stick around longer. And I think the hardcore crowd will have more fun with it, even if they don't stay on board the entire time. And finally, I do have some complaints at the end. I've issued some of them along the way. But the core complaint I had with what I played was that balance was awful in my build. The overall game balance was terrible. One side had a huge advantage. The abilities you earned quickly or not fast enough. It was very easy to get the heroes or very hard, and it seemed kind of all over the place until I talked to a developer about it, and the developer explained that they kind of set it up so that one side's going to win, so that the attacking side moves through all 4 or 5 phases of the map, and that the abilities have smaller cooldowns so that everybody has a chance to try them, and that the speed that you earn points and that the cost of the heroes and all of these sort of things have been intentionally skewed and made easier and a little bit spammier, because it's essentially an extended demo that we get to play, and they wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance to see all the stages of the map, to try the vehicles, to try the Jedi, to do all the different things and participate, instead of it just being like a proper game that would last like 30 minutes and you get to do one cool thing once. They intentionally like greatly accelerated that, and that really did screw up the balance, though they assured me the final balance is going to be very, very different. Guys, that's all for this opinion video and some gameplay on Star Wars Battlefront II. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.